everybody. Welcome to Kickin It. I'm James Manning, of course, and this is Marcus Bridges.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, what's going on, Marcus? How are you?
Dude, I'm happy to be here with you and your house bush.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. I am current on your on Kickin It. I've watched the episodes and I really love just the decor. I'm here for it, man.
Well, this is a very special plant given to me by another comedian, Angie Bloomfield, and it's become a part of the show because it matches the backdrop, and it's also a Duck fan.
Okay,
so
that's great.
I mean, you live in Eugene, you got to be a Duck fan.
Yeah, we're pretty rabid about that.
It's true. You go around, you'll see it. All right. Well, while we're talking about the Ducks, maybe we can swing it away. How about a fun fact about yourself? Fun fact about me is I have an insatiable love for donuts. It's a problem.
That's a good fact.
That's
a good fact. Dude, and we have a Voodoo Donuts here, which I know people say is like overrated, but you give me a donut with my favorite breakfast cereal on it, and I'm going to smash it into my face every time.
Yeah, I once, when I was landscaping in Portland, I went to a Voodoo Donuts, and I got the giant glazed, because my favorite donut is just the regular plain glazed donut.
Okay, you're simple. You're simple in your donuts.
I'm a simple man.
Okay,
I'm a simple man.
Got it.
And I like my donuts. But the thing is it's goddamn big. It's huge. It's like Texas-sized.
It's like Shaq's foot if it were a donut.
Yeah, Shaq. I think actually Voodoo should do that. They should do the Shaq foot donut.
It should be probably an apple fritter, though. Have you seen his foot after all the years in the NBA?
Whatever it is, it's got to be.
I actually, I was at a Foot Locker once, and they had one of his shoes on display, and I was like 10. And it's like nothing you've ever seen when you're 10, and you see something like that. You're like, they don't really make people that big, Mom, do they?
It's actually a model of the house they're building.
There's the moral of that story is there's a picture of me somewhere standing nervously close to like one of Shaq's real shoes. I'm not sure about it.
Is that the fun fact?
No. You know what? You want to get to fun facts. Let's get to fun facts, all right? I'm thinking hard about that because I've seen that you like to ask for fun facts. Here's a fun fact. Today's show brought to you by the letter H.
All right.
I mean, it's not a fun fact about me, but it's just I wore the shirt. I figured I would give the company the love that they deserve. So
I think that the letter H is a wonderful letter. We need all the letters in the alphabet. And today's show is brought to you by the letter H. We did not coordinate this, by the way.
No.
It's just...
I didn't tell you I'm here to take over. That's a fun fact about me. I'm here to take over Kickin It with James Manning.
Well, I'm kind of for it. I was in the man room, and I don't think you could really describe this place as anything other than man room or bachelor pad.
Yes. No, this is great. I'm so at home here. I feel like I'm at home, honestly.
It is the green room studio, as I call it, because I'm always ready to go on.
I like it. I also like that. You know what? I love the fun edits
fact.
too. Can I get a fun edit in here if I give him like a? All right. I can't wait to see what that turns into. I'm a big game hunter. How about that? I'm a big game hunter for like decades of my life now. There's a fun fact. People don't look at me and see. I don't want to say woodsman because I don't like make cabins, but yeah, I'll kill a game and I'll bring it home and I'll cut it into steaks and I'll eat it for a year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's your favorite sporting track?
I really enjoy elk hunting.
Elk hunting?
Yeah, it's the most challenging. They're the smartest ones out there. They beat you every time. It's hard. A lot of times it's inclement weather. It's really big mountains and lots of hard work packing out a really big animal if you happen to be successful. So, yeah, man, and I'm serious about it too. Like I will find a cow elk and lay underneath of her and let her pee all over me so that I smell the way I need to smell.
Go on.
I wanted to hang on to that long enough to whether or not you knew I was serious, but No, it's we got to get into the camo. I took my wife with me the last time. She saw me shoot an elk, and if you listen to her tell that story, it sounds like it should be a TV show.
How does she take the cow peeing?
She's
sport about that?
At first she was like, "What are you doing?" But I'm like, "Just stand behind there and twist the tail." If you twist the tail, watch out, because they're kickers, man. Oh. They will kick the shit out of you. And they only got teeth on the bottom too, so you think you can feed them an apple, but they'll take a pinky right off.
It's clean off. All right.
Animal facts.
Yeah. Okay. I tell you what, it's hard to get out there and hike like that. It really is. I mean, hiking in those inclement places is very arduous.
Yep.
And packing out has got to be the hardest part of that. I mean,
it's the least amount. Well, there's two parts that aren't as fun as the rest of it, because the hiking, when you break it all down, like the hiking and the shooting and the tracking, that stuff is fun. When you're elbows deep in the carcass of a giant animal trying to, cut its innards out so you can pack it out, really that's like the spoils of victory, if you will. They say to the victor go the spoils. Well, to the successful elk hunter goes gallons of blood and guts and just things that you don't. It's take a guide with you. It would be as somebody that's done this a lot of times, pay for a guide. Make one of them do it. They're pros, and they love to. They're like, aha, fun part. They sharpen their knives and they jump in. It's like, great. You're obviously got some things that you didn't work through as a kid. Me, I like to not buy beef at the store, and I like to go out with my dad and see the land and track the game and all that. And my uncle chased me with a piss bag when I was a kid. And maybe I'm working through some stuff too, but they were gutting a deer and I didn't know it, and he had the bladder and he poked a hole in it and he kind of chased me around for a little bit.
Oh, gotta get you, buddy. We're gonna go snipe hunting after this.
This wasn't ever supposed to be on camera. But no, it's one of the things I'm like, I have a giant respect for the game. The killing part of it is hard for me because I don't want to take a life of something. But I want to use it. I want to be a conservationist, and we're hunting with tags. We're paying into this program that is supposed to manage this wildlife so that their habitat can be maintained and the herd can be healthy and everything like that. I love that part of it. I just am not dissecting frog day wasn't my day in science class. I was like, I don't even want to be here.
I gotta agree with you on that, because recently I went fishing. I went salmon fishing up on the Columbia. I'm actually, I don't do a whole lot of outdoorsy stuff anymore. If I do, it's just to go hiking, I used to really enjoy fishing and go a lot, but I don't anymore. I just kind of, don't do it a whole bunch. But my buddy called me and he was like, hey, we're going to go salmon fishing. We got this guy. Do you want to come? I was like, yeah, I want to come. And ended up catching 2 huge fish, nice. And they were hatchery fish for the sake of what they were supposed to be there for, us catching them, know. And I think we all almost limited out, I think maybe with the exception of 1 fish. And it was just kind of an experience of, this is natural. Mm-hmm. It's a natural thing, and I'm not going to the store and buying it. And I tell you what, I've been surviving off of that.
It will. It's amazing when your fridge is just full. When you just have it there, you just go get it. It's just there. That's a good feeling. And it's funny. You ever watch Alone? The show Alone?
Oh, I don't think I have.
All right, so it's just you get 10 items in a backpack, and you're a survivalist, and they just pitch them out in one of the worst places in the world to go. You're going to the Arctic. Survive as long as you can, and the last one standing wins $500,000 or something.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of this. I haven't seen it, but
fishing, it'll give you some real primal, a view, kind of a peek behind the curtain of what's going on up here, because we come from people that used to have to get fish to live, right?
Or hunt
or forage or any of it. Yes, all of it. And you see that in Alone, where all of a sudden the fishing season dries up and the lakes freeze over, and they have to cut through 2 feet of ice to get a fish, and I don't want to say that this is funny, but I do, and I'm entertained by it, because they'll pull the fish out, and they haven't eaten in a week, and they're like, oh my god, oh thank you so much for this fish, thank you so much, And they like take it. There's a little bit of anger that they haven't eaten in a week. Like this one could have come around last Tuesday, and I wouldn't have beat the hell out of it.
I don't know that it's anger. It's as much as it's like passion. You know, passion. And that's the way it was with the guide on the fishing boat, because they just set everything up for you, and you just sit there and drink your beers, and it's like, oh, there it goes, and they'll even grab the rod and hand it to you. You know, it's like, all right.
Yeah.
You know, super fun. But it was like, well, I'm not going to pass that experience, you know? Shit.
The only ocean fishing trip I ever went on was in Hawaii. And I was so seasick the whole time, but I still caught a mahi-mahi, which goes to show you how easy it is if you have a guide. Like, I went from throwing up in the cabin to, come here, take this for a minute, and then they go, gaff it, and somebody hits it with a hook. And I'm done, and I got to tell everybody that I caught a mahi-mahi. It's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, you just pull it right into the boat. Oh, great fish! You know, it's a little brutal, but it's like, you know, if I would have known that fish was going to turn into some of the best salmon chowder that I've ever had. I had no idea it was even a thing, but my friend's wife made some salmon chowder out of some of my catch. And like one of the steaks I gave him was a fatty, and I just couldn't believe how good it was. And then I had it at their house, and then I took some home, and I just smashed the rest of it the next night. Like I didn't even, you know, but it was fresh. It was caught by my own hand. I mean, sorta.
It's healthy.
It was caught by the guide's very close supervision.
It's one less healthy decision that you have to make during the day actively. Like, it's good for you. It's there. Like, those are 2 of the 3 criteria. If it was Taco Bell, I'd eat it every day. Like, if it filled all of those and I could just have it, I would eat it every day.
All right, you ready to go fish for some tacos? we're gonna get a little extra cheese bean burritos today.
Going down to my cheesy gordita crunch hole, you know.
All right, we're gonna cut open the ice and we're gonna try to get to the gordita. Okay. Well, we can talk about something other than
not
sports.
Killing animals. I mean,
yeah, you know. So, how did you first get into stand-up comedy? When was it? You know, how did you just make the decision? Where was your first place, if you can remember?
You know, my very first show was in the basement of Diablo's, which is no longer a bar that's no longer around here in Eugene.
I remember the basement in Diablo's. Didn't they have a pool table down there?
Yep, they did. Yep. They also had a little tiny room where they did all sorts of drugs that weren't supposed to be done. I didn't know that when I did this show.
That's why they're not a bar anymore.
Yeah. Great people, great staff. Miss them dearly. But I got lucky because I was involved with the radio show, The Donkey Show on 101.5 K-Fly, and we were talking to a lot of local comedians at the time, just having them on the show. Chris Castles is a guy that I don't think you've met before. He put me on a show called Andy Andrus Ruins Christmas. So my very first show was opening for Chris Castles, Christine Levine, and Andy Andrus in the basement of Diablo's. And they gave me 10 minutes. I didn't have 5. I'd never been on a stand-up comedy stage before. My only experience was radio, like live radio. I didn't have what you would call experience from a stand-up stage. I'd hosted a lot of events and stuff like that, but never anything where it's like, okay, everybody's watching you tell jokes. And they also, the Adult Shop was a sponsor of that, and so there were a lot of nefarious things on the stage. There was a plug, and I don't have to tell you what kind of plug because you know I'm a hunter. It was a plug, and it was like as big around as a football, and it was right in front. And I remember this whole time, like, rather than trying to think things through, when I would run out of what I was gonna say, I would just look at that plug. And it was because it was so distracting to me, and I couldn't, like, well, that joke didn't hit, back to the plug.
Yeah, I know.
And so...
I mean, how could you not? I'm not sure what I would do if there was just a big old H plug hanging out.
And dude, I'm sure it's terrible, but you know what? It's on tape. I have it on tape, and fortunately, the format that I have it on, it costs like $1,500 to get a converter to get it to digital, so nobody will ever see it except for me. Which is such a special place to be, to have something that's so bad. And you can watch it every day and just be like, you haven't got any better than this in 14 years. Okay.
So if anybody out there has $1,500 and they want to see some old footage of Marcus Bridges, you just let old James Manning III know.
Yeah. Hey.
We're going to make this happen. We're going to start GoFundMe.
Yeah, and if we spend all the money that you spend on scotch, it was because I didn't have anything to do with it.
Well, the goal's going to be $20,000. We need $1,500 for the.
But no, I got lucky in that, because that first of all, way out of my league. I mean, Christine Levine's a touring comedian. Andy Anders is a touring comedian. Chris Castles, he has his own show down in Austin now. Like I didn't belong in the same bar as a patron as those people to talk about stand-up comedy. And from there, I opened for Sean Morey, Sean Morey wrote the Man song a long time ago. It was like an early 2000s like radio comedy.
Okay.
And I got to open for Brian Posehn. And this is all through the radio. Like, none of this is on merit. Like, nobody looked at me and was like, you're good at jokes. People were just like, Brian Posehn was coming through and didn't have openers, and me and my co-hosts are like, and we did, I mean, I would
say that you were doing a show, so you did have some merit. And, but...
My mom says I'm cool, which,
My mom thinks I'm cool, too. She doesn't know I'm really not that cool.
I just
hate to break it to you, Ma.
I have this like, I was raised Catholic, so I'll tell you, it was like I have inherent guilt. Like I'm guilty. I know I'm not supposed to be even doing as good as I'm doing, which isn't that good. I'm not supposed to be there. But for me, I always had that guilt of like, you hear comedians who hit open mics for 8 years before they even get in the same room with a guy like Brian Posehn. I just got to raise my hand and do it. Like, just because I am some asshole that hangs up on people when they call my radio show, that's not necessarily merit. I mean, it's a brand of merit. It's merit you buy at Winco.
I would say that you're getting stage time.
Any way that I can get it.
The stage is, a very wide and audio only stage time.
That's true.
However, still stage time. You gotta fill that dead air.
I kind of want to kick it with you more, because you make me feel better about the things that I was, like I said, like that Catholic guilt has really been wrenching on me, because
I'm never going to be able to help you with
that. It doesn't go away, does it?
It's never going to be any better. But so when was that show? How long have you been doing comedy or radio?
My first stand-up show, I think, was 2007.
2007, so
no, 2008, sorry. Yeah, about 2008. So, yeah, I mean, and I probably took a 5-year hiatus in there when I wasn't, about 4.5 years when I wasn't performing at all, because I was in like this kind of depressed hole where I didn't think anybody wanted me on the airwaves wherever they were anymore.
Oh, you mean just being comic?
Yeah,
it's like nobody wants me anywhere. I think I'm funny, but
you don't. When I didn't have a radio show anymore, I was really convinced that nobody wanted to hear from me, and it's a good thing, because I'm pretty much like that now. But I got fortunate too. We put together. I was working in the cannabis industry, which is something that I did for 5 years after I got out of the radio, and that was when I wasn't performing. But during that, we put on a cannabis-friendly comedy show down in the Whitaker district in Eugene, where I actually hosted that show, and we had Billy Wayne Davis and Mike McGowan and Alex Adney and Seth Milstein on that show.
Oh, awesome!
And it was, I mean, we had people like the company that I worked for at the time. I organized it with my sales manager. Like, these were all of our ideas. We had waitresses with trays of joints walking up and down the aisle, and they were just free, and you just. Yeah, and we had a dab bar in the back. The guy from Zocart, the food cart Zocart. He would sprinkle shake onto your pizza and then bake it in the oven so it decarbed it for you, and then you could just have straight pizza with weed on it, and it's edible right there. And I mean, I'll tell you one thing: it was a great room. But it was a tired room. Like, it was, you really had to, I would equate equate telling jokes into this room to starting a lawnmower in the dead of winter. Like,
yeah, because everybody's like,
yeah.
yeah.
And by the end of it, there was just this cloud hanging over the room, and it was a metaphor for all the comedy that had died that night because nobody could understand it because they were all too high.
But I just had this pizza, bro, and
but what a phenomenal idea! I mean,
that's
it was
great.
Because normally
I'm so for it, dude. I'll tell just jokes to people who are just like comatose.
Yeah. I was the host, so I was sitting next to the stage, and I had to reload Billy Wayne Davis's bong a few times while he was performing.
I mean, as one will do.
Yeah, and by
as many as Billy Wayne needs.
Exactly. You're the closer, dude. I'll be up here all night. And we had him for like an hour and 15, and he must have done like close to 2 hours. But I think it was because I just kept shoving weed in his bong, and he kept hitting it. And sooner or later, he even remember my name. He called me Eugene, because that's the town we were in. So, you know.
Well, all right, let's talk about the Man Room.
Okay.
So, you know, I was on there I'm on the most latest episode.
Episode 27 of the Man Room, featuring this dude right here.
Hey, you know, and I had such a great time, and that's why I wanted you to be on Kickin' It too, is because it's just fun to hang out. Cue the music. But, so, tell me a little bit about the Man Room for people who haven't tuned in before, like, you know, what's it about, and maybe some things you got in the future, upcoming guests, maybe?
You know, the one thing about me and upcoming guests is one time one of my fans told me, I like the surprise, and so I just don't book upcoming guests. I just have them when they come. And for the first 25 episodes, that was once a week. And I'm starting to run out of people that I know that want to do the show. So now it's like, but I do want to keep the element of surprise. So while I do have a few ideas, I won't divulge. But more people like yourself that do cool shit is one of the things that I really wanted out of the Man Room. I'm a conversation dweeb. I mean, if you could ever have, like, if somebody asked me, what do you nerd out the most for? I like to talk to people. I really and it doesn't matter who. I could hate you, and I'll still have a really good time talking to you just because I like to talk, and I like to listen, and I like to go back and forth with people. I like to ask questions and see where shit goes. I like to make jokes. That's kind of one of the things that I do to help myself write comedy, is just have a wide open-ended conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
Where does it go? Who knows? What are we going to talk about? Who knows? Hunting? Maybe. But
haunting, perhaps?
I mean, when Andy Andrus was on my show, I like to equate it as, like, if you dropped acid and then watched a fly zip around the room for 45 minutes or an hour.
It's going to be 3 hours.
But I thought, because I had the skills from the radio, I had the ear for the audio, I wanted to make something that was me in my home base talking to people that do cool shit. That was really where it came from. The idea originated from me asking about 6 of my college buddies if they would join me like once a month, so that I would basically just be talking to the same people over and over again. But for various reasons, A, my skill level, and B, their want or need to be in a public platform when they don't do anything at all that has to do with, you know, entertainment or anything like that, was low, okay? And so I had to pivot and find other people. There is one show where I talk to a couple of my college buddies, and it's one of my personal favorites just because, you know, you talk about open-ended. When you came into the podcast, I told you I didn't write anything down. We're just going to talk. And that can intimidate some people, yeah. But it's really fucking fun. And that's where the Man Room comes from. It's like, I call it the Man Room, not because I only want to interview men, not because I wanted to name it after what I think would be a really cool name for a gay bar. But I just this is my room. My wife and I have always called it the Man Room. I keep my drum set, my Xbox, and my blood pressure cuff up there.
Right.
And so it's a Man Room, you know? And that's basically where the podcast came from. And I still get to talk to really cool people like yourself. And what it's giving me the opportunity to do is also, you know, in all seriousness, do things like Kickin' It. And I love that shit. And I hope that more of the people that I've gotten to work with will start to kind of explore that area of like, what kind of show can I have? Because I think every single person that I've worked with on the Man Room is capable of having their own show. It's just finding the thing that's right for them. Oh, man.
All right, so what we're going to do, I've got some words here that I've written down. We're going to do a little word association. So I'm going to say a word, you just say what comes to mind.
Can I tell you before you step into this that because I'm familiar with your show, this is the most intimidating part for me.
Well, I designed it specifically for you.
Let's do it, buddy.
Okay. Word number 1. Go.
Just go.
Go. What are you going to say? Go. No?
No.
Okay, fishing for go ducks there.
Oh.
Because the second word... Oh, I know you...
Oh, I fucked it up.
Go. All right, second word. You got this. Beavers.
You son of a bitch.
Okay, we're back on track.
I come from a house divided, you know. My sister graduated from Oregon State 3 years before I enrolled at University of Oregon.
Good God, man.
And it actually, like, it's become a thing where her and I have this budding rivalry where it's like, who can buy dad the coolest shit for Christmas each year? And I'm on like a 6-year winning streak because I found Oregon golf shirts. They look so good on everybody, and you can't put orange on an old guy and call it fashionable. Like, no.
Take that, sis.
Yeah,
we got duck gear.
She'll watch this, and she organized these hats for me, so that's how I pay her back.
There we go. Sweet. Actually, I need me one of them hats. We're gonna go number 3.
Coors Light, Silver Bullet, baby. CL Smooth. Rock them at every tailgate we've ever been to. Even if I'm not in a point in my life where I haven't been drinking Coors Light, like for the last 8 months, 9 months, maybe even a year, I haven't really done much Coors Light. I drank a lot of IPA, and when I want to switch off the IPA, I go to the seltzers because it's such a low calorie thing. And I got to watch my midsection according to my fucking doctor, which what does he know?
Oh, it's your doctor? Don't worry about that.
It's like this fucking guy in a building somewhere on the road. But here's the deal. I don't like to... Tailgating is one of my favorite things to do. I'm over a decade-long, 12-year-long season ticket holder and tailgater for the Oregon Ducks. Every single home game I'm out there. And I went to the store last week to buy supplies for the tailgate. And when I got to the beer aisle, I bought the White Claws, and I went to the liquor store and got the whiskey. But the Coors Light, the Coors Light had to be there. It was crazy. I mean, it really is. Like, I feel Coors Light on a different level than everybody. I worked for a radio show for 8 years that was sponsored by Bud Light. I could have as much Bud Light as I wanted for free, and I still bought Coors Light at the store. That's where I'm at with it.
All right. Number 4, Costco.
You know, I like the Costco.
Okay.
You know, they got 36 seltzers for what you can get for the cost of 24 at like your normal Kroger, Albertsons, Safeway. So Costco will work some deals for you. I also got an airbed at Costco that if you keep it plugged in overnight, when it starts to deflate, it'll turn on and reflate itself. You can't buy that shit at Fred Meyer. Whatever. Nope. You can't buy that shit at Bi-Mart. You want to tell me that you're going to get an air mattress at Bi-Mart, it's going to be at Coleman, and the middle of the night, you're going to be hugging whoever you're sleeping with. And this weekend, I got 2 buddies, Andrew and Matt. They're coming to my house. They're sharing an air mattress. If I get a Coleman for them, they're going to be snuggling all night. They're never coming back. But I give them my Costco airbed. That's a comfortable place for 2 grown men to sleep separately without ever actually touching one another in their own sleeping bags. You know.
Costco airbed in the man room.
I also hear they have pretty good pizza, but I've never tried it.
Pizza, I've heard. Also, Costco hot dog, very fond of. I've been Costco hot dog since I was a kid.
It's quite amazing.
What I went to Costco for as a child. Like, we're going to Costco. Yeah, I'm going for a hot dog.
That's amazing. What do you pay $129 for your membership a month for? Have you tried their hot dogs?
$1.50 hot dog.
I heard you guys had some trouble last week with some Costco hot dogs and a little bit of...
That's just what I thought it smelled like. Number 5. I'm just all right. Word association number 5. Crow. Crow. Don't think about it too much. Just
You know what? The Counting Crows. Me and
Counting
Mrs. Jones. Yeah, I really enjoy some hits by the Counting Crows. They kind of come. You know, a lot of people like to say that Blues Traveler was the band that really identified that genre, that harmonica kind of funky blues rock. I'm telling you, man, Blues Traveler was good. Whatever he did with his fucking hat on. But the other guy had
Blues
cooler...
Traveler was some good shit.
Yeah,
bro.
it was, but the other guy had cooler hair. Like your Buddy Holly glasses, your derby hat, and your fat, you know, just the whole thing with your... I don't know. I was a Counting Crows fan. People like to get on me for that. One guy liked, what was it? The Railroad. What was the band, The Railroad? Something Railroad. Whatever. They weren't on the Cable Guy soundtrack like... Primitive Radio Gods, and that was kind of the same thing. Just like Primitive Radio Gods standing outside a broken down phone booth with money in my hand and Counting Crows, Mr. Jones. They got a thing going on. That's all.
All right. That's perfect. Number 6, Skittles.
I hate Marshawn Lynch, dude. You know what?
See, I knew it.
I like Marshawn
Skittles.
Lynch post-football, okay? But he beat the shit out of the Oregon Ducks when he was at Cal. He was a big son of a bitch, and he ran all over the field on us. And he actually made my San Francisco 49ers look like a bitch a couple of times, too, because he was up there in Seattle running around doing that 12s thing where they're feeding him Skittles after the game like he's a kid. And I know it was funny.
Okay, now I see.
When he would get a touchdown, because his mom, when he was a kid, when he was playing Pee-wee, he would get a touchdown, he would run over to his mom, and she would give him Skittles. And so they found that out, like, I don't know, Aaron Andrews did an interview with him or some bullshit, and they found that out. And so it started to be a thing where he would go, after he'd score a touchdown, and, like, the coaches would give him Skittles on the sidelines. And he'd eat them out of a glove that smelled like a human anus, because if you've played football... They are the worst gloves that you've ever been around, especially if you're a quarterback.
Blood, sweat,
and if
saliva,
you're a quarterback, you get the
tears.
You get center butt hand. I played quarterback a little bit in high school, and you have to put your hand right
up in there.
And so you know how I used to control my offensive line when they wouldn't shut up? Grab them by the face mask. You grab them by the face mask, and they can't. Oh, it smells so bad.
Get away from me.
Okay, so Marshawn Lynch ate Skittles out of a glove that smelled like that.
Oh, that is disgusting. Number 7, donuts.
I told you I was afraid of word association.
No, just keep... Oh, this is beautiful.
Every Friday morning from the time I was in, like, 2nd grade all the way through when I graduated high school, my dad would go down to the one bakery that was open before school went on in Enterprise, Oregon, and buy donuts for my sister and I.
Oh...
And so I have
what a good man.
I have this love of donuts, dude. And you know what's cool is now my sister with her 2 sons has moved back, and my nephews are like 7 and 5, and they're already doing Donut Friday. It's like it's gone for 2 generations now. And this
can I come,
dude? This bakery was. I don't want to say anything bad about it. It was the best bakery we had in Enterprise, Oregon, the Cloud9 Bakery. It's still there today.
I think enough said. You're like, well, it was the best we had.
The lunch is amazing. They will make you the best turkey sandwich that you've ever had. The donuts, now that I've experienced donuts in the world, Krispy Kreme is a thing. Dunkin's not fucking around. You got Voodoo over here. Blue Star Donuts throwing down award-winning stuff.
You know what, dude?
It's hard.
You gotta go hit up Cal's Donuts on River Road. This is an unpaid ad. Just saying, Cal's Donuts, that's some good shit.
I've had Cal's because the company I used to work for just down the road, they were talking about Cal's there on River Avenue, yeah? Yeah. Cal's is great, dude. And there's also a place here that very few people know about. It's called Lee's Donuts and Thai Food. I'm not fucking with you right now. There is a place out on Barger next to Big Lots. And I had to Google this in front of somebody's face one time because they sat in your chair and laughed at me because they didn't believe in Lee's Donuts and Thai Food.
You know why? I've been in there, and those donuts are good.
They're good donuts! And that's the thing
and the Thai food is reasonably priced.
It's reasonably priced Thai food that may or may not be as good as the donuts. I'll let you make your own decision. But here's what they do is they keep one side of the restaurant separate so you don't accidentally get like, what would be good is like a pad thai donut. If the peanut sauce was right, but don't give me a pad thai donut if it's going to be like super hot and spicy, you know.
Oh, peanut sauce.
Lee's
on the
Donuts
donut.
and Thai food is onto something. Peanut sauce donut.
Peanut sauce.
Lee.
All right, this is the last one. Number 8. Kung Fu. Kung Fu. What you got?
I saw a Jackie Chan video actually earlier today,
Oh,
and I don't know what movie it was from, but what the premise was is he was in the kitchen and there was this very, very pretty woman in there, and she had the really tight form fitting dress on, gorgeous, and he like had his hand around his hip and he was stirring a wok. He had his hand around her hip and he was with the wok. He was making some badass food, I'm sure. Some Kung Fu kitchen type shit.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was one of the other guys in the kitchen, that was his lady. And so he's like, you know, and that said across the bottom, it said, "Do not touch my woman." And he grabbed a butcher knife out of a block, and then like 4 more guys grabbed. Actually, it was a really cool shot where there was just a bunch of butcher knives in this big piece of wood, just randomly in the kitchen. And every dude that was on the side, like the line cook, the dishwasher, the cup guy, like everybody took a butcher knife, and then somehow they kicked Jackie Chan. Was it Jackie Chan? No, it was Bruce Lee. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to fans of Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, because I got Jackie Chan fans all excited. Bruce Lee fans are like, what the fuck?
I'm a Bruce Lee fan and a Jackie Chan fan.
So have you seen the one where he fights like the whole kitchen of people?
A bunch of times, man.
Why is every Kung Fu movie based in a restaurant?
I think that's something that there's rarely ever a Kung Fu movie made that is not, like, there's not a restaurant completely destroyed. We all look forward to that.
He did light one guy on fire. He kicks him into the oven, and you know where they light the wok, where they're kind of put it over the open flame and they'll light the wok. That guy got against that, and it lit his whole chef shit on fire, but they put it out. I mean, there's a lot of water in the kitchen.
Oh, man. Okay, so I'm going to figure out what this movie is, and I'll put it in the comments section.
Thank you, because I butchered it like all those guys with their butcher knives would have done to a real person if it wasn't Bruce Lee.
Because I'm trying to think, like, I'm not sure if it was the big boss you're talking about or if it was the Chinese connection. So it's kind of, it's a little rough. But,
here's what I'm going to say, though. If you're doing a restaurant Kung Fu scene, because we've all been there. Everybody's been in a fight in a restaurant, in a Kung Fu movie.
Come on.
So you grab the butcher knife, which, okay, it's the coolest knife there. It's got the big, thick body. If you lop a finger off with it, you're going to know. It's an impression type weapon. But you have these big-ass woks, okay? This is a shield. This is like something that you swing at somebody and just end the fight right there. Because even if they go to block it, crush their elbow, and it's all hot, and it's going to get all over them. I'm just saying, be a little more practical when you have your Kung Fu fights in the kitchen.
Straight down, bang, and then they can't see it either.
Exactly.
It's just like, right on the head.
How does every horror movie end? Jason gets whacked with a cast iron pan. If you had a wok, there would only be one Jason. If you'd have hit him with that wok in the first one, lights out, dude. The thing's like 28 inches wide.
It'll walk you up. All right, you guys. I think we're going to bring this to an end.
Have we gone this long? Jesus, I've just been talking this whole time. I'm so sorry.
No, you haven't been talking this so long. And actually, if you weren't, we would have had to leave it up to the letter H. So, I think we're going to put this one to rest, everybody. Marcus Bridges from the main show. Wait, the man room. Bring that on. He's going to give me one of those hats. And I'm just telling him this now. The Man Room podcast, hey, check it out, you guys. And so, actually, really great episode with the mathematician.
Oh, thank you.
Make sure and check it out. Very cool content. Also, we've got Chris Green on the Man Room.
So funny.
That episode had me dying. So, go check it out, you guys. And we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for having me, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, hey, thanks for being here. This has been Kickin' It.